Hello, and welcome to a very special examination. We are going to be using one particular technique on you today, and that is the percussion technique. There are two kinds of percussion. We are going to start with direct percussion, which is going to involve me just tapping along the sinus cavities, primarily the frontal, the ethmoid, and the maxillary cavities. And then we have indirect percussion, in which I'm going to be using a buffer, like my hand, to tap along different places. In addition to that, we have a slightly different kind of percussion in which we will be using some different tools here, and I'll get to those in just a moment. So, do you mind, for the purposes of this examination, if I touch you? Wonderful. Let's get started. So, the sinuses here, I'm going to be focusing right in here, right along here, right in the bridge of the nose there, and down the sides, and along the sides of the nose, right in here. So here, here, and here, just like that. So I'm going to first press into these areas just to see if there's any tenderness. If there is, I don't want to go tapping in there. So I'm just going to press, release, press, release, press, release. How was that? Wonderful. Release. Just like that. Is that all right? Wonderful. So now I'm going to use my fingers to tap along these areas. So for example, I could do a little bit of tapping like this with just the one hand. I could do with my thumbs here. It's quite a quick motion here. Or I could do it with my fingertips. A little more force with the fingertips there. So we had the one hand, the thumbs, and the fingers, the bilateral palpation, or rather percussion. Just like that. So for indirect percussion, I'm going to be focusing on the chest and the abdomen. So the clinical use of percussion actually came around in the 18th century to check for fluid in the chest cavity. So we are going to be tapping around the chest wall, and I'm listening for the sounds that come back. So we're going to start on the anterior side here. I could have you just stay still. And naturally, it should get lower in pitch as I go down. Go ahead and do that again. This is much gentler. How it was originally, where one would directly percuss. Actually, the tools we'll talk about are an evolution of a percussion tool. There we go. Now I'm going to move to the abdomen. This is not going to have that ladder-like motion, but instead is more going to follow the contours of the organs. We can actually map out the abdominal cavity using sound. So I'm just going to move around a little and tap in various places. And find the liver, for example. Percuss the borders. Have a nice little rainstorm to go along with our percussion today. So let's just run through that again. Let's see if I can go in a bit of a different direction. Good. Doing all right here? There's not a whole lot to do here, except stay still. It's a bit of an odd feeling. Not painful, I hope. Good. Now I am going to be percussing the posterior chest wall, or the back. And this is where I also go in that ladder-like motion. So I will be right back. Now let's see what we've got here. Let's see if I can do that the other way. Starting back at the top. that is going to conclude the indirect and direct percussion with my hands here. Now I want to show you an array of tools that I'm going to be using with you. We are going to start with the oldest model and go ascending in year. The very first dedicated reflex hammer is the Taylor hammer. There were percussion hammers before, and this was made to elicit reflexes as opposed to being used as a percussion hammer. It has a triangle shape. It's also called the tomahawk hammer for that reason. And it has a blade at the end that we can use to elicit the Babinski reflex at the bottom of the foot by stroking the sole. Next, we have the Berliner, and this is rather odd looking for a reflex hammer. It is essentially obsolete, really. It has this little rubber half moon, and it almost looks like an axe in shape right here with a straight body. We have the Queen Square, named after the location it was developed in. So this is a little rubber disc that is attached to a rod, and instead of the usual motion, this one is a lot bouncier. We're using some arc action in this one. Very bouncy, one of my favorites. We have the Trömner with the larger and smaller heads here. So some people use these for smaller areas of reflex testing. Some people use them for children. This is the one that I primarily use. And in the bottom, this one has a little neurological tool, has a brush and a metal tip for a soft or sharp sensation test. We have the Babinski Hammer, invented so that it could be easier to carry around. So originally this would have been telescoping, and it came apart very easily. This one does not, but it does come apart. And this one holds a little sharp tip in the end for our sharp test. Next we have a Dejerine Hammer, and this one looks quite similar to a buck hammer, but this one is essentially even on both sides here. So very simple design, no bells or whistles. Then we have the buck hammer, which looks very similar, except this is a smaller tip, this is a larger one. We have the sharp tip in the top, and the little brush, if I can get that out, there we go, in the bottom. And there are a couple other tools we can use, but we'll get to that later. They are not part of our hammer collection. I am going to be using each one to elicit a number of reflexes. None of these should be painful at all. Do let me know if it is. We are going to start with the Berliner model, from 1910. So I'm going to start with the Achilles reflex. I could just have you put your foot onto my knee here. That way I can hold the top of your foot, maneuver it so I have a little bit of tension at the back of the foot. And I am going to be tapping the back of the tendon. We're going to see if we get a good reaction. So, holding the foot and tapping the back. Good. Other side. Okay, holding the foot. Good. Now, if you'll just allow your legs to rest and go loose, I'm going to be eliciting the patellar reflex, named for striking the patella, getting that knee-jerk reflex. And in Latin, patella means plate. It's that plate in front of the joint there. So, if I could just have you let the leg relax, let it go loose and limp, allow the table to completely take the weight of it. Good. Just going to do a couple taps here. Good. Okay, other side. Okay. Getting lots of little jerks here. There. Though this one is quite firm, it's probably one of the heavier of the tools. It doesn't have as much give to it, so they'll be a little lighter from this after this one. Now for the triceps and biceps reflex on the arm, I'm going to have you take the arm and put your forearm on your thigh, letting the hand be loose and limp off of the leg, right between your legs. And that way I can get the back of the arm as well as the crook of the elbow here. So, triceps reflex first. Just going to be striking the back of the arm here. And for the biceps, I'm going to be holding the back of the elbow, putting my thumb in the crook of the elbow. I will be tapping on my thumb, that's right resting there, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get there. I'm going to just hold your elbow and tap here. See the muscle. There we go. Good. Now we're going to repeat that on the other side. If I could have you just lay your arm on your thigh, letting the hand stay loose and relaxed between the legs. Just let it hang there. And then we'll do the triceps reflex here, right at the back of the arm here. Good. the biceps reflex with my hand cupping the elbow, my thumb in the crook of the elbow. Good. There. Now, last one, just for funsies. I am going to put my thumb right here in the divot between the skin below the lip and the chin. I'm going to have you just slightly open your mouth, like so. I'm going to be tapping right there. Put my thumb right here. We're just going to just like that. With the jaw jerk reflex, there should be no movement. Very good. Now let's see which one I want to go with next. I think we'll do the buck hammer. So the buck hammer, we're not exactly sure when precisely it was invented, but this is an evolution of an obsolete hammer called the Skoda hammer. We're going to go through our reflexes again. I can have one of your feet on my knee. Good. We'll just start right here. Good. This is the one I prefer the sound of the most. It's got a good solid sound to it. Other foot. Good. Now the knees, you can let the legs relax. Good. Other side. Very good. Now the arms. Let's start this side. You know how to arrange the arm. Good. And the biceps reflex here. And the other side. Triceps first. Good. Biceps. We'll do the arm here. And the jaw jerk. I'm just going to switch it to the little guy here. Switch it right here. Now hold your mouth just slightly open. There we go. There we go. Good. Now let's see. Let's go ahead and use the Babinski Hammer. This one was designed in 1912. Let's go ahead and go backwards this time. So I'm going to do the jaw jerk first. This is not necessarily my favorite hammer. It's the one I use the least. It's just a little finicky is all. The telescoping and the ability to break it down into different pieces may be convenient, but it's not exactly very stable as a hammer. We'll do the triceps reflex here. Good. Biceps. The other side. Let's do biceps here. And triceps. The patellar reflex. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one. Good. Other side. The ankle jerk, whichever foot you want to put up on my knee here. All right, we'll start with this one. Good. The other side. So holding the foot here. Good. We've done the Babinski, the Berliner, and the book here. Now let's move to the Dejerine. So this is a 1920 design here. Oh, let's go ahead and we'll start with the arms this time. I think we'll do this one to start, right? Go ahead and get your arms ready. Very good. Let's start with the biceps. Good. Triceps. Okay. Biceps. Triceps. Jaw jerk. See, these are both very similar. This one's just a little longer though, isn't it? So go ahead and just very slightly open the mouth here. There we go. And ankle jerk, I think. Right? Put up here. Good. Just gently listing the reflex. Even though maybe it sounds a little louder. I'll do the patellar here. It takes very little force to use the hammer to get the reflex. Other side, let's do patellar first. And the knee jerk here, or rather the ankle jerk. There we go, you knew what I was talking about. Excellent. There we go. So, Dejerine, got that one. And from 1925, we have the Queen Square. I particularly like this one. Very good percussion instrument. So I can use it like this. Very little force, a lot of bounce. Or like this. What do you want to start with? We'll just take it from the top, all right? We do. There we go. And let's do the arms next. I'll get around to the triceps here. Triceps. And both biceps here. Patellar here. We can switch our hold. Let's go right. There we go. Doesn't make a lot of sound compared to the others because it has a lot less force that you need. Ankle jerk here. Okay, get that tension. There we go. Excellent. Now, what do we have next? Oh, I've got 2 reflex hammers left, and then a couple other techniques to use. So, I think from 1888. The Taylor hammer here. I like using this side. This is a very lightweight hammer. It's good to use in all applications, and you have the added blade here. Really, I think of all of them, the Trömner's used quite a bit, but really can't beat the original. So let's go ahead. Let's start with the knees. We'll start right here. So let them relax. Let them go loose and limp here. Other side. Good. The only drawback is, since it's so light, the sound's a little hollow. Let's go ahead and do the biceps reflex. I'm going to hold your elbow here, put my thumb in the crook of your elbow. Good. Other side, holding the elbow. Just go ahead and let your arm relax. Excellent. Now, the triceps. Let the arms relax. Let the hands just go loose. And let's go right behind here. Good. Other side here. Just let this arm go loose. There you go. Right? And the jaw jerk. We'll just switch to the tip here. Good. Excellent. And from 1910, the Trömner hammer here. I do like the Trömner. It has good weight to it. Nice heavy head. A nice sort of bassy sound. Good bounce. And I like the little compartment. It's very nice. Good touch. So let's go ahead and work backwards. Open the mouth slightly. Good. And the arms, let them relax. Everything go loose. The shoulders sink down. Good. Let's do biceps first. Triceps. Biceps. Triceps. Good. And the legs, we'll let those go loose and relaxed. Loose and relaxed. And we'll just do the patella here. Other side. Good. And ankle jerk. This one first. Okay. Hold the top of the foot. We'll just maneuver that a little. Right here. Good. Other side. There we go. That was our last dedicated reflex hammer. However, there are two other kind of techniques we can use. So we're going to keep it more to the upper and lower extremities rather than the jaw jerk because they take a bit of a more delicate approach because they're not exactly dedicated reflex hammers. the stethoscope here. This is known for using primarily the diaphragm here. To auscultate. We do have the bell as well. This is better for higher pitch sounds. The bell is better for lower pitch sounds. But you might notice that if we turn this, we have a couple of good edges here. So yes, we are going to use the side of the stethoscope here to elicit some reflexes. If I could see your foot. Yep. Right, and I'm going to hold the foot, adjust the back of the foot there. Okay. There we go. And the other side. Bit of a tinny noise to it, bit metallic. Now we'll do the patella here. Good. Let's try the bell. There, a little bit better. Good. Biceps and triceps. Going to be a little difficult because this is very lightweight, but we'll give it a good shot. Works in a pinch, really. And biceps here. Triceps. Biceps. If you have a reflex hammer on hand, probably wouldn't use that in its stead. Last one, we can make one more kind of edge. The side of the hand. We can get a good bass-filled sound. It's very solid, just maybe not as accurate, but we'll see what we get. So, let's start with the arms. So I'll get triceps reflex here. Let the arm relax. This isn't really going to have much force behind it, just like the reflex hammers. Just like that, see? Now let's see if I can get it on my thumb here. It's a little too ham-handed to get it right all the time, so we have to do it quite a few times. Good. We'll try the triceps. That one's better. So those smaller areas of reflex, not great. Bigger ones are a little better. So if we do the knee jerk, we'll have a decent time. Okay. Good. Okay. And as for the ankle jerk, really it can go either way. It's a good area for eliciting a reflex, but just a bit awkward positioning wise. So, foot up here. I'll hold and good. Put that foot down. Bring the other up here. I'll hold the top. There we go. And you can put that foot down. So, I feel like I've probably beat up on you enough, although it is for the pursuit of science of medical knowledge. Now, even though we've gone through a lot of different percussion hammers and methods, there actually are quite a few other ones that aren't really found anymore. You could probably find antiques, but not exactly being made by most manufacturers. We have the Krauss model from 1894, the Wintel from 1925, the Wentrich from 1841, the Vernon Hammer from 1854, the Stuckey from 1922, and the Skoda is what the Buck Hammer evolved from. There's not a definitive year, but the inventor lived from 1805 to 1881. There certainly is some room to find some more hammers, if they were still being made. So, do you have any questions at all? Yes, throughout that, all of your reflexes were intact. Our indirect percussion yielded nothing out of the ordinary. And the direct percussion, I imagine, you would know if there was something off. But you didn't feel any pain here. So, all good. Sinus cavities look good. All right. I'm going to sign off here. Go. And that will conclude our special examination for today. I'd like to thank you very much for your cooperation. I know that was quite a lot. There was a lot of tapping on different areas, and I appreciate you being so patient. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical, pseudoscience / alternative medicine, and personal attention ASMR roleplays. But I've done a little bit of everything, from historical to sci-fi to fantasy. If you'd like to support the channel, I offer ad-free videos, early access on videos, and exclusive content on Patreon.